So what happens when everything you say you believe in gets put to the ultimate test? Today, we're jumping into a really powerful story about choices, about consequences, and what it actually costs to do the right thing.
This quote right here, this is the heart of the whole thing. It sounds so simple, right? But living it, well, that's incredibly difficult, and it just perfectly frames the massive moral dilemma we're about to get into.
Okay, so here's the setup. On one side, you've got this brand built on a really beautiful, powerful mission. But on the other, you have a real-world crisis that smacks that mission right in the face. This is exactly where our story kicks off, in that uncomfortable gap between what a company says it stands for and what it actually does when the pressure is on.
All right, let's dive into the first part of our story, a true crisis of principle. And we're about to meet the person who's stuck right in the middle of this impossible choice.
So, this is Lucy. She's a really passionate founder. Her company, Feed the World, isn't just about fashion for her, it's a mission. It's about helping people. But that entire mission gets thrown into chaos when one of her best employees, a seamstress named Rosa, is suddenly arrested and detained by immigration.
And this is the question that just tears Lucy apart. Does she go public? Does she use her company's platform to fight for Rosa and risk absolutely everything she's ever built? Or does she try to work quietly, behind the scenes, protecting the business, but pretty much abandoning her employee in the public eye? I mean, seriously, what would you do in that spot?
Okay, so let's explore what seems like the logical choice at first, the case for silence. This is where you see pragmatism go head-to-head with principle.
And this is her whole argument. You can hear the panic in her voice. She's not being heartless, she's terrified. To her, the survival of the entire project, which, helps a lot of people, it has to outweigh publicly defending just one person. It's a classic practical argument, but it feels wrong, doesn't it? But her partner, Max, he sees it completely differently. He just cuts right through her logic with this powerful challenge. He's basically saying that when you're looking at injustice, there is no neutral corner to stand in. If you stay quiet, you're picking a side.
And let's be fair, her fears here, they're not crazy. They're laid out pretty clearly. She's worried about losing her funding, about her business getting destroyed, about becoming some kind of political target. And what if she speaks out and fails anyway? Then she's lost everything for nothing. It's a real list of fears.
So this is where the story takes a fascinating, almost supernatural turn. It's like a modern-day Christmas carol. A mysterious stranger appears and literally forces Lucy to watch the future that her silence creates. And the first vision she sees is just gut-wrenching. She sees Rosa, totally alone and scared in a detention center, being told that her boss is just reviewing her options. Then later at her hearing, the courtroom seats are just empty. Nobody came for her. That silence is absolutely deafening.
And here's the most crucial part. Lucy's silence isn't some self-contained thing. It creates ripples. The community feels totally betrayed. The brand's reputation as being ethical, it gets shattered from the inside out. And maybe worst of all, it just snuffs out the hope of the people who actually believed in what she was doing.
And this quote, wow, this one really hits hard. It comes from this young intern who looked up to Feed the World, who saw it as proof that you could do good in the world. And when Lucy stays silent, that belief just dies. The intern literally rips up her application. It shows you that inaction doesn't just avoid a risk, it actively creates its own kind of damage. But here's the thing. The stranger doesn't just show her the cost of being silent, he also shows her the cost of courage. He makes it crystal clear that the right path is not the easy path. It has its own very steep price.
So here it is, laid out plain as day. Two paths, two futures. Silence means the business might be safe, but it costs Rosa her freedom and the company its soul. Courage? Well, that means losing donors and facing a ton of public anger, but it saves Lucy's integrity and gives Rosa a fighting chance. There's no clean, easy win here.
Just when Lucy feels completely trapped between these two awful choices, the stranger shows her one last vision. It's a forgotten piece of her own family history, and it completely reframes the entire problem for her. It turns out her own grandmother arrived in the country undocumented, and when the authorities came searching, her neighbors, people who barely even knew her, risked everything to hide her and keep her safe. Their courage, their choice to stand up for a stranger, is the literal reason Lucy's family and Lucy herself even exist. And this is the advice her grandmother gives her in that vision. It's so direct, so powerful, It connects her comfortable life today directly to the courage of others back then, and it shows her exactly what she's required to do now.
So that brings us to our final section. It's time for Lucy to choose her ripple. Armed with this new perspective on her own history, she finally knows, without a doubt, what she has to do.
And just like that, the debate is over. She's still terrified, you can be sure of that, but she's resolute. She makes the call. She chooses to act, not because it's practical, but because it's right, honoring the legacy of courage that made her own life possible.
As the mysterious stranger leaves, he gives her this one last piece of wisdom. A choice has been made. The ripple has been sent out into the river of time, and there's no going back.
And in the end, the story leaves us right here, turning the spotlight away from Lucy and shining it directly on us. Because sooner or later, we all face a moment where living our values is going to cost us something. So when that day comes for you, what ripples will you make?